Let's talk about MPs who decided to have a laugh at the British public whilst deciding to extend the Coronavirus Act in the UK because pandemic never ends. When would it? When is it going to end? Seriously.
They don't want it to.
2025? 2030?
30.
Yeah, I mean, literally. So this is the video here. As you can see, John clipped some of it here. And the quote I had from this was that this is them deciding to pass the Coronavirus Act without a vote. So what they do in the British Parliament is yays, people shout yay, noes, people shout no. And then they take a rough guess if it's obvious. And if not, then they do the vote. And this is the clip. So let's play this clip.
The question is motion number 4 as on the order paper. As many as are of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Of the contrary, no.
Aye.
Could I have the noes again?
No.
I'm afraid, I fear the mood of the House is not to have a vote on this. I do understand. I think the honourable gentleman would have to rustle up a few more people to really get the sense that we required a vote when we do.
She'll live by faith.
I'm sure they will. So I think the ayes have it, the ayes. Thank you.
Just completely out of touch. Body language and demeanor, in my opinion. So if we go back to the clip you had up there, John, like I don't know if I'll come up here, but I tried to count just the number of the MPs, and it's roughly, I don't know, 31 turned up for this debate at all. That was it. So most of them not there. I have some sympathy with the speaker that it's obvious who's won that because they're MPs. So you've got Desmond Swade and like the 5 guys who are on his side, presumably, saying no versus the rest of them. And the debate is going to be obvious. But the laughing, the having fun with a situation like this, I think it's completely inappropriate. As you're talking about lockdowns, you're talking about mass mandates. You know, these completely illiberal things we would not have tolerated 2 years ago, and then we would never have tolerated, we swore, and then they happened. That took place.
You'd have expected a more somber attitude.
Yes. I mean, if this was a bill about preventing rape and murder or something, no one would be laughing about, haha, isn't it obvious that it's bad? No, it's completely inappropriate. Anyway, so the response to this has been interesting. So if we go to the first link so we can get the Labour response, because Labour had an opinion on this. What was it? Well, it doesn't go far enough. We should have been able to debate this so we could institute it more, as in make the Coronavirus Act worse. So if we get the link up, John, to the next one here. You have Afsana Begum, MP. The UK has some of the highest COVID hospitalisation rates in the world. Yet today, MPs were denied a vote on the Coronavirus Act. It should have been repealed and replaced with a clear measures to protect lives. Instead, the government are walking us towards a COVID winter disaster. That's the complaint. Not that the Coronavirus Act is tyrannical, all the rest of it. Nah, not even just, okay, it's a necessary evil. No, the Labour position is that it doesn't go far enough.
It's not tyrannical enough.
No, we need more tyranny. Right. Thanks for that, Islamo Labour. Let's move on. So if we go to the next one, we have the sort of freedom movement response. So David Curtin being a nice, easy example for this, the leader of the Heritage Party and UKIP, Reform UK, these kind of groups. So these guys. So they would say, as David has here, Parliament has passed an extension of the Coronavirus Act with no vote, and with the small number of MPs who actually bothered to turn up, is they're treating it like a bit of a joke. The people will not forget this disdain for freedom. Absolutely true by David there. And the Freedom lot won't, but the Labour lot we have to share the country with apparently do not give a toss. The Conservative response to this, because they're in government, was particularly So Steve Baker here. Steve Baker is a, let's say, I'm going to say intelligent parliamentarian. Let's leave it at that. And he gave us like the nitty-gritty legalization of this kind of thing instead of just, talking about tyranny and whatnot. So he said in here, the Coronavirus Act gave the government sweeping powers to introduce measures in response to COVID-19 pandemic, such as closing businesses, schools, and restricting gatherings. The powers to this under the Coronavirus Act have now been removed by the government. However, these powers in the Coronavirus Act were not used by the government to implement the lockdowns and restrictions. Overwhelmingly, significant restrictions introduced in response to COVID-19, including the lockdowns, restrictions on social gathering, the closing of businesses, and mandatory mask wearing, have been implemented under the Public Health Act 1984. Had to be 1984, didn't it? Of course it does. So him making the point there, that apparently, okay, no, you actually have this all in the Public Health Act anyway, so that's his real enemy, and he says that's why I'm campaigning for a new Public Health Act and so forth. And, okay, well, good, because that shouldn't be there. But also, it doesn't really make sense. Like, you've got all these things in the Coronavirus Act and all of them in the Public Health Act. Well, okay, then both of them need killing, not just one of them, obviously. I don't know where he was for this vote. I didn't see him in there, but it's hard to tell because it's grainy footage, so he might have been. I don't want to say he wasn't, because he very, very well might have been. But I don't know. Anyway, so you have all of this taking place, and at the same time that we have this vote on it. I mean, technically there was. They did say aye and no, but that's about it. So whilst this is all going on, of course, everyone in the institution is trying to drum up fear, as usual. So if we go to the Guardian article on this, independent Plan B winter measures now risk NHS crisis. Johnson warned, it's going to be a crisis, folks. It's going to be the worst thing ever. Everyone's going to die, just like last time when everyone died. No, didn't happen. Anyway, so if we go to the next one, we have the Times reporting on this as well. Everything's under control, it says PM, despite rising COVID cases across the country. People dying left, right, and center. It's worse than it's ever been. And yet, PM does nothing. Where is he? Anyway, we continue. We get the next one up. We have someone trying to virtue signal over this. So this is them standing for the death of David Ames. And they try to compare the left versus the right here. As you can see, you have the left-wing parties, because the SNP, Greens, it's all the same thing. It's just leftists. And they're all wearing their masks. Whereas the dirty right-wingers, no masks.
You know, this is the first time I've seen Jessica Seymour not virtue signalling still about Brexit.
Oh, is she famous for doing that?
Oh,
I'm not familiar with
notorious. Notorious.
Yeah. Well, you can see her here trying to virtue signal. Oh, they wear the mask. They care about lives, unlike the right-wingers who just want to kill people with their breathing. Anyway, this obviously doesn't make any bloody sense. And we can demonstrate that just with pictures of Labour Party conference, in which you can see all of those people, all of those MPs. Literally
Spot one mask.
2 weeks ago, something like that. And this hall had like thousands and thousands of people. These are just the front benches. All those ones who were then wearing masks in Parliament because scary COVID. Yeah, not so scary at Labour conference, but also gets worse because, of course, they also went out clubbing. So if we go to the next one here, you've got Sadiq Khan out clubbing with Dawn Butler, another MP. Both of them, Dawn Butler wearing a little dimmy mask in there, but Sadiq Khan also being a guy who implements a mask mandate in London and then goes off and goes clubbing with his friends. Right. So whilst everyone in London on the public transport is still forced to wear their masks.
The ever morally consistent Mr. Khan.
Yes, doesn't give a toss. And there's also discussions. So if we go to the next one, we have GB News reporting on the debate about whether or not masks should become mandatory again because, fear. Don't you know? Everyone's dying. Loads of cases. Right. Yeah. Well, this isn't the only people who are also ignoring their mask mandates, of course. We go to America for a minute. We have Joe Biden, who was also caught violating his own mask mandate because none of them care. Their own actions show that they do not care about the risk to them. Their choice. I'm all for personal freedom, but they're not. So if we just go to the numbers, the spooky, scary numbers. So we get the next one up. So we have the official statistics. As you can see there, 86% people have had the first dose and 78% second dose. You may have noticed that the first dose holds around 80, even though tens of thousands of people keep getting it.
Yeah.
And you notice it's because now it says percentage of population aged 12 plus. They keep lowering the age for people getting vaccines, so then the percentage stays where it is. So that's just a reason for that. But as you can see, we have people testing positive, deaths. If you can scroll down, you can see a lot more of those statistics, and you can see they're all going up. Those two are going up. No, if we can go back and scroll down, you can see the other two going up as well. Virus testing, patients admitted. Yeah, okay, look, seriously, come on, look at the statistics. Everything's going up. Couldn't be worse. Everything's going to get much worse. Except, you can just click on the button that says all data. And I don't know why the media thought people wouldn't. So if we go to the next one here, we just have the full data for this one of people testing positive. If you scroll down to get the graph itself, you can see, there's no peak. It's up because there's a lot of testing. That'll be why. And there wasn't a lot of testing before. And then if we go to the next one, we just had the people, I think this one is dying from COVID. And if we scroll down on this, you can see the graph again. And, oh dear. narrative.
Yeah, something doesn't quite add up, does it?
Yeah, it's almost like it's full of S.
Yeah, I mean,
all these people are full of S every damn time.
Almost as if it's just a load of hot air being blown.
Yeah, I think this one, what is it? This is the deaths. I don't know what percentage of that compared to peak it is. Now that we're thinking about bringing in mask mandates, maybe we need another lockdown. I saw the government said they're ruling out another lockdown. And nobody believes that.
Did you see Neil Oliver's snippet on the culture, on our addiction to fear? on GB News?
No, I didn't.
No, well, he's basically claiming that it's becoming increasingly hard to argue against what was it? Certain conspiracy theories that are being peddled by anti-vaxxers because we actually seem to be sleepwalking into a culture of fear that we're actually getting some comfort out of
From being scared.
Hence, well, people still wearing masks despite the fact that they're not, in most cases, the slightest effective, unless you're on the tube or in a hospital.
Well, they have a role to play, but how they are used kind of can destroy that role.
But exactly. But
if you're not wearing a proper mask and instead just doing,
But more often than not,
cough.
they're not being used in a way that adheres to common sense.
No. So, I mean, like the filters people... I saw a woman the other day walking down in Swindon, and she was wearing an N95 mask, like the proper ones, but with a filter. I'm like, lady, if you've got it, you're giving it to everyone. But whatever. Anyway, so we get the next one here. You have the patients of maybe because I mean deaths are usually 2 weeks behind, as I mentioned to Carl when he brings up that. Well, come on, it's 2 weeks behind. It could be worse. Well, we can look at hospital admissions again. My narrative down the drain here because we can just look at the data because the data is public. I don't know why the press and the government seem to think that it's not. And as you can see, I think that I calculated this was it's a quarter of peak, and yet we're discussing lockdowns again or mask mandates. So sick of this. Anyway, so let's go on to the mask theatre because the fact that you will have to wear masks is not unique to Britain. We have Ireland next door. The Irish will have to wear masks in nightclubs in all circumstances other than if they are drinking or dancing. You're in a nightclub, for one. I don't think the mask is doing that much in this environment.
So you don't. So hang on. The Irish have to wear masks in nightclubs.
But if you're taking Jaeger bombs with your friends, cheers, go for it.
Then it's fine.
COVID doesn't care about that. If you're dancing as well, you COVID don't touch you either. This is like the what was it, the curfews they tried to do. They were like, yeah, after 10 o'clock, COVID disappears. When you're dancing, COVID disappears as well.
Would it be impermissible to say that this is like one of the most Irish policies I've ever heard?
I don't know much about Irish politics, to be honest. So.
Never mind. I'll pick up on that again later.
Okay. Well, I'm interested to know, actually.
Well, it's I suppose it's the stereotype that they just like drink, I suppose.
If you're drinking, do what you want.
Yeah,
I suppose. Anyway, so we'll carry on with this. There was also a clip I saw going around on COVID, which is there's a guest on Joe Rogan's podcast who decided to just enlighten the Americans to the world outside of America. And he gave a statement in here to Joe Rogan's audience, which is that, well, more than 70% of the deaths in the UK are from people who are double vaxxed.
17%.
70. More than 70% of the deaths are for people with double vaccinated. I don't know if you remember the statistic before. It's about 70% of the population that are double vaccinated.
Yeah.
Those proportions. If 70% of the population are double vaccinated, you might say, well, you'd expect them to be making up more of the deaths. Yeah, but in exact proportions? Surely less, because the vaccine gives you great coverage from dying from it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
No, apparently not. I decided to check this out, and if we go to the next one, we got the data itself, and yeah, true. So if we ignore the first dose, because it's statistically insignificant, as with the unlinked, and you can see two graphs there. So one being the people who have died who are not vaccinated. If you can go back to the graphs, please. And then you have the graphs of... Sorry, if you can get the graphs up, so I'm trying to look them. So you got the people who are not vaccinated and dying, and then you have the graph of their second dose over 14 days before specimen date. So the people who are dying double vaccinated. And you just run the numbers, and yeah, it's like if you just take those two comments, it's 78% of people who are dying from COVID in this period given died while being double vaxxed. Just interesting. If we go to the next graph on here, because I think that one's actually more relevant for people trying to understand this, so we can hit next. You can see the graph here, deaths within 28 days and deaths within 60 days of a positive test. Again, positive test, they could have get hit by a bus, but, this is the data we have. And you can see the vaccine working. Does its job. If you're 80 plus, 70, 60, 50, there's a big difference there between the chance of death. Significant. Getting down to 18, can you see?
No.
Can you see a bar at all? Where's the bar? It's just not there.
You'd have to zoom in on it to see it.
Yeah, I mean, this is why our local health authority were concerned about the government's actions trying to give 12-year-olds the jab. Yeah. So does its job on the upper brackets where you would expect it to do its job. And yet we still have that problem because, of course, variants and all the rest of it. Anyway, thought I'd just leave that there for people to have a look at, and then we'll just move on. So if we go to this one, yeah, there's also some horrible news. So the app people were downloading that everyone was like, don't download that because the government's going to spy on you. Yeah, government's going to spy on you. they admit they're spying on you. So you can see here, there's the UK government admitting that it de facto, the app will collect data on your race or ethnic origin, political opinions, religious or philosophical beliefs, trade union membership, also a natural person's sex life or sexual orientation. But don't worry, trust us, bro. However, our systems cannot access or process this data. We note it here to support transparency.
Oh, well, that's reassuring, isn't
I'm
it?
so reassured. Yeah, whoa, we don't look at that data. Ah, come on. Well, we're the government. We would never do anything a bit fishy. Yes, come on. We're so sensible. We would never abuse our powers to look at people's trade.
So we basically want to know everything about you in your private life, and don't worry. We'll only use it when we know we're justified in doing so.
Trust us, we never use it. Never, ever. Never. Trust us. I mean, over the same time, this is coming out with the COVID passport stuff, because if they implement that, then you would have to download the app and use it to go to restaurants and all the rest of it. And as they say, would de facto collect that information on you. And you just got to trust them. They would never do it, they swear. Anyway, so if we go to the next one on here, we just have the number of people who have downloaded this. It's apparently about 40% of the country. So maybe we know what percentage of the country will just do anything, I guess. And then I thought we'd just check what Boris Johnson's up to. So if we go the next one on this, we have Boris talking about greenery. So Britain's face higher taxes to pay for eco pledges. This is a carbon tax apparently is being floated.
Right.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Now let's go to the next one. And we can just see somebody talking about this. There should be a link to Boris Johnson's Twitter page. I think I got it in the... No, it's there. I can see the proposed carbon. Anyway, I'll just talk about it then. So anyway, he's the proposed carbon tax, as I mentioned, but there's also Boris Johnson striking a deal with Bill Gates for £400 million for green technology. I mean, that's what he's up to these days. And then also there was his Twitter page, and I was going to just scroll through his Twitter page because it's just unbelievable. Everything he talks about is just, so windmills. What? Like, it was this it? Was this literally, like, was that all of his manifesto? It was get Brexit done and then windmills. And like, right, I don't think people were that interested in the green stuff. I mean, I'm not,
No.
but he is. Anyway, so we'll move on from that. But then we'll just mention the last thing. In case you think these people are taking you seriously for a minute, let's just end it on the Transgender Admiral of the Year. So Dr. Ravine Levin, Assistant Secretary for Health at the HHS, has been appointed a 4-star Admiral of the U.S. Public Health Service Commission Corps. I don't know if this is a normal thing. I don't know what's wrong with Americans.
No, that would depend on her, on what her pedigree is in this field, wouldn't it?
But also, like, she's some health secretary assistant. You give her a medal and tell her to be on her way if you're getting rid of her. You don't make her an admiral.
No.
You know? I say her because, of course, this is the transgender individual, which I can't say what she looks like, can I? No, a video commenter did that a while back, and it's unbelievably remarkable.
One hell of a promotion in any case.
Let's go to the next one. Let's see if you can guess what she looks like. Scroll down on this. You can see the person in question. It's Benjamin Frank. No, whatever. All right, we'll leave that there. Anyway, so that's the 4-star Admiral, and if we go to the last one on this, it's just... that's the military service, as you can see on her Wikipedia page.
From this day, basically.
Yes. Allegiance, United States. Branch Service, United States Public Health Service.
Fantastic.
Served in the trenches of public health. Years of service, 2021 to present. Rank Admiral.
The West is in safe hands.
They're not taking us seriously. They're not, come on, they're just laughing at us at this point. Like, there's no way you could do this with a straight face. If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full thing at 1 p.m. every weekday at lotuseaters.com, or you can sign up to get access to all the premium content we have on the site.
Yeah, we've got loads of really good stuff. Every week we have a Contemplations and Epochs episode that goes up, and in the Contemplations we talk about just interesting things, and the Epochs episodes are probably my favourite because I love talking about history. This latest one is we're doing a bit of a series on the 100 Years' War and why England kept winning. And we've not finished it yet, and you're going to really enjoy the end of that one. But we've also got other excellent episodes that we do, like the book club. The most recent one was Shooting an Elephant by George Orwell. This was about his time in Burma as a colonial officer, and when he was tasked with the shooting of a rampaging elephant. And it's really, really interesting what the circumstance of the thing was. But we also have lots of other content, such as premium articles, which have audio tracks on them for our silver and gold subscribers. And we do premium podcasts about things that we don't really feel that we can put on YouTube or have done a particularly large amount of research into. And so it's worth keeping them slightly more private. And we also do lots of very interesting interviews, such as this one with comedian Steve Hughes, which was really fascinating because I didn't expect him to be a philosopher. But anyway.
Yeah. Also, the last thing to mention is the live event content we have. So we occasionally, when we get around to it, doing our live events, and the videos from them are on the website as premium, of course, because people came to see and paid. So go and check that out. This is on the worst of critical race theory.
Yes.
And I do mean the worst.
It's unconscionable.
Yeah. So if you'd like access to all that premium content, go to lotuseaters.com and subscribe. Thank you and goodbye.